She has made it into the studio. Ann Coulter is in the house, and she's not writing a book this minute.
That's right.
She's like...
I'm signing books this Friday in Palm Beach.
Colony or something.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine, I was on his show last night, and I said, well, Ann Coulter will be on tomorrow. And he said, oh, yeah, she's signing books. So, he knew more than I knew.
Yes, probably more than I do, but it's linked on my webpage.
That's all that matters. So you didn't come to Washington. I was so sad because
I celebrated like mad in New York, though, with Trumpsters.
Did you? Well, there's not that many Trumpsters in New York, from what I can gather.
I think I know them all personally.
I'm sure you do. Well, you were missed, and it certainly was like the moment that you and I had been waiting for, the moment that we had predicted accurately.
Well, I watched it on TV, and it was occurring to me, I mean, I don't like crowds, and I'm recognizable, and I don't want to stand for 48 hours taking selfies with people. That's why I celebrated in New York. And the crowds, the security, it just sounded like a huge hoo-ha. But the only two inaugurations I've been to when I was a little kid, I went with my family to Reagan's in 1980, sunny, beautiful. 84, really snowy. We had to watch in our congressman's office. And I don't think I've even watched an inauguration since then.
Neither have I.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But everybody I knew was waking up to watch the Trump inauguration, and man, what a speech. He did not disappoint.
Not at all. And just, he's gracious to President Obama in the opening, and I thought, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then it was as if the mask was lifted.
Yeah.
And he eviscerated everyone.
Everyone on the stage.
Everyone
yes.
on the stage.
And he's right.
Their faces were pained. At one point when Chuck Schumer just kept talking, I don't know what that was all about.
That was strange.
We're screaming, Trump, Trump, Trump. And I think he heard Chuck, 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 because he just kept talking. I
don't think anything stops him. But it was funny how the media twisted Trump's speech. Well, first of all, to do the exact same thing they did, the dark business. You don't want to watch
Carnage.
it. Just trust us. Just what they said about that fabulous inauguration speech. But the other thing was they all started talking about it, claiming it was an attack on Obama. No, you morons. It was an attack on the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, everyone on that stage. It was an attack on Washington. Maybe they knew that and they thought, we were caught red-handed. We better try to pretend that isn't what he said.
Oh, God, it was magnificent. I was crying, and the people around me are, just trying to figure out what I'm so hysterical about. But it was everything I wanted it to be. He left nothing out. He talked about the wall. He talked about here and now. He never used I or me. I think he said me 3 times, and it was he said I 3 times, and it was I will honor my promises.
Right.
I will do what you asked me to do. And it was the antithesis of the last 8 years.
Yes, and the presidency is too. Every day I feel like it's Christmas every day. I was watching his signing an executive order today to get the Keystone Pipeline and the Dakota Pipeline going. And if you haven't played it, you ought to find it and play it. They're not making a big deal of it on TV, but apparently he had Teamsters gathered there.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Members.
Yeah.
And he was, I tweeted out a few things he said, which were... and this pipeline, this is going to be American pipes built by American workers, just like it used to be. And the other thing he said, which I didn't quote exactly, I was just walking around listening to it. He said something like, now second executive order for expedited building of our infrastructure. He said, look, airports are falling apart. Bridges are crumbling. We don't have time for, 3-year environmental reviews when bridges are falling down.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh, it's Christmas every day. He also apparently met with Jimmy Hoffa and other Teamster, or rather other union leaders.
Who were bragging about what a great visit it was and how Obama had never met with them.
But when he first met with them, he pointed out that they didn't vote for him.
That's right.
But their members did.
And that's what they said. When they came out and they were interviewed, they said, look, we're never invited to meet with President Obama. And one of the reporters said, but you all voted for the Democrats.
Well, the members did, not the leadership. And it shows how crappy the union leadership is in this country. They've been leading their members. Why hasn't this happened long ago? Because their leadership keeps telling them, vote for Obama, vote for Hillary.
Right.
They don't care about their members. They care about power. The members we like. The union leadership, they've nearly destroyed construction and blue collar work in this country.
Hey, listen, I've thought from the beginning that there was something very divine about all of this, And
yes.
I refer to Donald Trump now as Nehemiah, because God told him to build a wall. And I believe that God told Donald Trump to build a wall, and that's when this all began. You and I both know that it had not been for that issue, for that that one statement that he made, I don't think any of this would have happened.
I agree. Plus, that's why I hope, and I notice that the media is hysterically saying, no, he's got to get off Twitter, got to get off Twitter. I want him to stay on Twitter.
Me too.
And I want him to keep giving those huge rallies, because it was like his own personal focus group of 10,000 people. And as I describe in my book, In Trump We Trust, that's the one I'm signing this Friday in Palm Beach, if you look at his opening speech, he said a lot of stuff. He wasn't the one stressing the wall. No, that came out organically because that's what the crowds were responding to. That's why it became the signature phrase, build the wall. I listed like 12 other things. I think this is on page 1 of the book. 12 other things that could have been, save our Second Amendment rights, save guns, repeal Obamacare, end Common Core. There are any number of things. Constitutional conservative. It could have been any number of things. It was build the wall. That wasn't the most prominent thing in his opening speech, although the Mexican rapist thing was fantastic. It was from listening to the voters, and I think the immigration part is coming, so I'm not going to be disappointed yet. But I love the other stuff he's doing. I love what he's doing with jobs. I love how he's insulting the media. But the big piece has yet to come. And every day I check Drudge and see all the great stuff he did, and I'm waiting for that opening on immigration.
And what's happening is he's empowering other immigration proponents of better immigration control, like Governor Abbott in Texas, who today started suits against the sanctuary city mayors.
That's right. And that magnificent op-ed in the New York Times by Senator Cotton from Arkansas, because he ran on that issue. He was great on that issue. And then suddenly he was getting no media attention for it. Nothing. He writes that silly letter to the mullahs, and he's on, every 5 minutes on TV. Oh, yes, that's what we want to talk about, other countries. Which reminds me of something else I was thinking of. I'm probably going to write about this for this week's column. I love Trump mostly for immigration and trade and hating the media. And not taking us to any more wars. The list goes on, but in that order, roughly. Yeah. It didn't occur to me until Thursday, election week. I was so ecstatic. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get health care again. They're finally going to repeal Obamacare. So I was watching probably maybe right before you came on here, that Tom Price hearing, HHS secretary. And it's, a relitigation of Obamacare. And I'm spitting blood watching this thing, Joyce. As I've probably told you, as an individual, I don't have employer-protected health care. Me, Matt Drudge, lots of my writer friends. That means we don't have health insurance. And I'd love to fly to Washington, testify, write letters, put up a web page talking about how Obamacare has ruined our lives. I'm now on my 3rd Obamacare plan. It's not technically Obamacare. It's the only one available in the individual market. $700 a month. Absolutely no individual plan will Sloan Kettering take. So I just have to pray I don't get cancer before Obamacare is repealed. Hospital of Special Surgery in New York. If you break a bone, that's where you want to go. I just have to pray. In fact, I'm seriously considering not going skiing this year until I have health insurance that will cover a broken bone. But I don't have time to fly to Washington to set up this webpage because I'm working so that I can pay my premiums, which funds health care for illegal aliens and welfare layabouts. That's what Obamacare is. It is a welfare system that you pay for instead of through the income tax, through your Obamacare premiums, which you don't. I mean, at least if you have employer-provided health care, at least you can go to proper hospitals, but your salary's gone down.
Oh, absolutely. And you really can't access anything except emergency care. I can't. I have a $6,500 deductible. I pay $6,000 a year in premiums. So I got to be $12,500 in the hole before I can access anything.
Yes.
That seems ridiculous to me.
But those of us who are living under that, millions and millions of Americans, were too busy working to pay our premiums and deductibles and, pay for dental care for illegal aliens. We can't go testify.
No. And it's fascinating. If you watch the Pink Pussycat Head, whatever they were. Actually, let me take a break, and then I will give you a little bit of what my 2 great moments in Washington. One in the Rayburn building, and the other at the airport with the Pink Pussy Hats. We'll be right back. just a figure of speech. But so here's the two best stories. You'll appreciate the first one. I'm in the Rayburn building going to see Brian Mast, my congressman, who lost two legs fighting for this country. By the way, did you hear Tom Cotton go off on Chuck Schumer?
No.
Because Schumer held up the Pompeo confirmation. It was supposed to be done before the inauguration and then right after, and he just kept, messing it up. So Tom Cotton approaches him on the floor and just starts railing at him. And Chuck Schumer goes, well, you obviously don't know the rules or how we comport ourselves here at the Senate. And if you had been here and said some date, and Tom Cotton looked at him and said, I was in Afghanistan having my ass shot at while you were here, sir. And I just loved it. But anyway, so I'm walking in the Rayburn building, and I walk down this row where his office is, and I guess maybe because he's a double amputee, they gave him a first floor office, hard to get. And I go by Bobby Rush and, Sheila Jackson Lee and Maxine Waters. And I see Maxine Waters standing in the doorway, and Billy just pulls me away, right? So I ditch Billy and I go back, and Maxine's standing there and she looks at me and she goes, can I help you? And I said, yeah, you could put on your big girl pants and go to the inauguration. That's what we pay you for. At which point she picked up her phone and figuring the Capitol Police would soon be on their way,
right.
I took off. That was fun. But then I'm in the airport and these...
Although I think it was better without her.
Yeah, well, the pink pussycats are, all over the airport. And they're
Yes,
just like... And they were
I'm sure they
weird.
were very offended by that access. Oh, for Pete's sake, they're wearing vaginas on their heads.
Well, no, is that what they were? I thought they were pussycat ears, like little kids
Well, a lot of them
wear.
are dressed up like vaginas.
Well, yes, I did see those. But these women, they were like, it's the first time since the election that I feel empowered. And I listened as long as I could. And then I just asked them, I said, well, what happens now? Where are you going next? Because
Right.
I know what's going to happen for my team.
Right.
We won. We're going to get all the things we want. And they all said, well, we... no plan. Yeah,
well, I
got
don't
no
even.
plan.
I wasn't even really clear on what it is they were protesting, other than it was a
uteruses.
party. There were a bunch of has-been actresses, and I notice it's all the fancy, rich actresses who get to speak, and the unfancy people, they get second-class status. But it was just, a white women of privilege party. They get to leave their kids for the weekend. There was an article in
They brought their kids. Their kids were in the middle of this
awful,
mess.
considering
It
how
was
vulgar
awful.
the language was, the signs were, the dressing up like a giant vagina. They're really disgusting.
They were writing on sanitary napkins and sticking them on the walls.
They're going to turn around and pretend they were just so offended by that Access Hollywood tape. No, there is nothing more vulgar than a feminist.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. But good feminists like Camille Paglia aren't having any of it, man. She's now really taken a very strong position.
She's sort of sui generis. Can we put
loves
anyone
Trump.
else in that category?
She just loves Trump.
I know. That's why it's that,
Can't figure
it's not
it out.
like a large group of people.
No,
There's
it's like-
Camille Paglia.
That's it.
In the sane feminist. I don't know why she calls herself a feminist, except to have that special honor.
Yeah. So where are you signing so that people can go there? You don't
the
mind
Colony,
if they
it's
buy a book, then they can.
No, in
talk to you.
fact, it occurs to me from previous book signings in Florida, I have a few first edition copies of some of my older books, and I think I'll bring them if people want extra ones.
Oh, absolutely. That's worth the price of admission right there. So
Yeah,
it's the
because you can't
Colony.
get them anymore. It's at the Colony. It's I think 6 to 8, but it starts with a dinner, and I'll speak, sign books, and it's for an excellent cause, the Palm Beach Republicans.
There you go. Listen.
And they totally were for Trump. I mean, they started off, they had been fooled by the consultants, fooled by the Mike Murphys, Stuart Stevens, and so on, into thinking only Jeb can win. It's only Jeb. We need Jeb. And as I've told you before, within a few months, by Christmas time, 2015, the plutocrats were wandering around in shell shock in Palm Beach saying, I don't understand. We were all for Jeb, but the Hispanic help is all for Trump.
Well, and how about Marco? He came around pretty quickly on Tillerson, huh?
Yes.
I'd love to know what Trump said to him. Little Marco.
Though I'd prefer to have that moral capital expended on Chris Kobach on immigration. I think we need an immigration czar.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well, thanks for coming in. Thank you out there for your time this time. Until next time, I'll be back tomorrow at noon, if it be his will and he delays his coming. Remember, what lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. So wherever you are, get your Make America Great hat on and get out there and talk to them pink pussycats. Thank you, Ann Coulter. Go see Ann at the Colony. When is it?
This Friday night.
This Friday night, 6 o'clock. Be there.
Palm Beach.
All right.